Kasia. Kasia niewiadoma.
Hi. Hi, everyone. Hi. Nice.
It looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks super good.
Memories coming back straight
Yeah.
away? They can't be that distant anyway, those memories. It's not too long ago.
It still feels like yesterday in some ways.
Well, not yesterday, but the day before.
Oh, yeah.
You were at the World Championships. I don't think you're going to forget that one in a hurry, because have you warmed up yet?
Partially, but not completely. I definitely feel like Saturday was some sort of maybe learning lesson, even though I just turned 30, so I should have known more about it. But yeah, it was extremely cold, and I think like a lot of us underestimated the shifts from like coming from racing in the summer weather and training in the summer weather to like freezing cold, like cold what you experience in winter training, January, in Germany probably.
A ridiculously difficult World Championships then, wasn't it?
The course was beautiful, so I definitely feel kind of hangover about this race because I had bigger expectations and bigger dreams, but I also know that my body just shut down. So it's not that I could have done anything more. I just was so empty from like just being cold. And once your body shuts down, your mind follows directly. So it's like, it's sad because it's another opportunity in some ways lost. But at the same, I know that there was nothing more other than like being better prepared, which maybe that's the part I missed.
Well, let's go back to some place now where the preparation was obviously there, because look at all these pictures that are behind us. There's a certain someone dressed in yellow.
With the mascara all over my face.
Well, let's go back to those moments.
Yeah.
Straight back after you crossed the line, you realise that you've just won the Tour de France.
Yeah.
What's the initial reaction?
Oh man, to be honest, it was like one of the most beautiful, I think maybe the most beautiful moment in my life, because after crossing the finish line, I forgot that I was even racing because it was so hard and brutal the last hour that I just wanted everything to finish. So like there was a very quick moment where I was just happy that it was over. And then I had Beth like whispering to me saying that I think we won. But then I was like, hold on, like, okay, we're back at race, like what's happening? And then I could just hear this intense yelling. It was like yelling of all the directors in the car just losing it practically. So then I realized that, wow, we won it. And euphoria and ecstasy and excitement was so crazy that it's so hard to describe it, but the happiness is so intense that it makes you feel like you're floating, you're flying. It's like so good, you're on the high and everyone is smiling, you're smiling back, it's like love and peace with everyone.
Sounds great, you must want to go back there.
Exactly.
In that moment, does it pass quickly? Does it pass slowly? You said you heard from the team, you think you won. Did it feel like an eternal wait for that moment, or was it all over in a flash?
I don't know, I remember like this stress feeling, like, you're like, okay, because last year we lost second in GC by like 0.2 seconds, so it was nothing. So I needed the confirmation, and it was like this very short period, let's say like the 2 minutes of like suffering up the climb, finishing, and just like hating everything what was happening, to then like extremely big highs, and then realizing what happened, and all of a sudden you're just like hugging everyone and you're celebrating, and the energy is so vibrant that it really feels like all the worries are gone, everything is gone. You forget about what you experienced, like nothing matters other than like the fact that you just want to see people you know and people you care about, that you can exchange the energy. I remember we were just hugging each other for hours after that. Everyone was just hugging each other, so that was really beautiful.
Amazing, but was it always like that? Because you talked about becoming second before.
Yeah.
For 5 years,
Yeah.
you were always there. but you weren't quite there. It was like you were the eternal bridesmaid, excuse the expression, because from Amstel Gold in 2019 until this spring in Flèche Wallonne, you hadn't won a road race.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was a gravel success that we'll come to in a minute, because that was, I think, quite an important one. And you'll tell me if I'm right or not. But during those 5 years, what was the feeling like? Was that belief there? Did you doubt yourself? How did you experience that?
I would say that personally, but of course, if you don't achieve your goals, like there's a disappointment, there's like a sadness, or we athletes get hard. And maybe every person that pursues some sort of dreams, we get hard on ourselves when we don't succeed. But I always felt like the team had my back. So even though I got second or third, like crossing the finish line with my head down, we would find something positive, and maybe the seconds and thirds, and then like still seeing people pushing me further and like trying to change something would never let me think that we cannot achieve it. So I think that personally, I know that we're strong enough to win more races, but something has to click differently maybe.
What was it that clicked? What changed?
I think like they're all training how not to fear others. Because sometimes I feel like I would see a dominant rider attacking or going, and instead of being like I'm gonna attack her, I would be like, oh, I hope I don't drop. So once you like get rid of that thought, then the racing is way different.
I guess you can apply that to this too, because what did you think on that final stage? I mean, if anybody wasn't watching, you took the yellow jersey 3 days from the end, you're on the final stage, Alpe d'Huez is coming, but Demi Follering's already out in front.
Yeah.
What do you think in that moment? Is it that sort of psychological improvement that you then apply?
So on Glandon, we were on altitude and I was already gassed, tired. So that helped me not to think about anything because I had like no energy. And then when she went away, I was like, oh no, like I can lose it all. And we started descent, so I used it to my advantage, and I just started to eat and drink whatever I had on me. And about this climb, like there's a really bad moment because you descend and you think that after 1 hour of racing, you can rest, but then you have this like a 1K 10% steep kick. So I remember doing recon, and we just like. We were kind of scared of this moment the most. And in the race, I actually felt good on that bit. So I was like, okay, everything is possible still. But with such an intensity, and like also there were a lot of people screaming, and there was screaming in the radio, and it was like so much was happening outside that I felt like I just zoned out. Like I didn't think about anything. I wasn't like, I'm going to like win the Tour de France. I just felt like I have no choice. I only have to like dig deep. Like there was no other way, only one direction. So I think that I had quite a lot of also negativity when she dropped me, because I was like, why I just didn't stay with her. And then luckily I was able to like kind of transfer it on me wearing gloves, because I had gloves. Normally I really don't like riding with the gloves. So I was like at the bottom of Alpe d'Huez, I'm just gonna get rid of those gloves and it's gonna be all good. And actually it happened that way, because then I regained my power somehow. So
how does this come about? Of course, you had that idea then, okay, I'm going to put these are the gloves for, I'm going to put this, the gloves are going, that's it. All the bad's gone. Is this work with a psychologist? Is it something you've done yourself? Because it all forms, I guess, part of the preparation that goes with the physical preparation and the equipment, which we'll come on to afterwards as well.
I think it's just the experience in some ways, because I've been racing for over 10 years, so of course, like over the course of time, I was working with a lot of great people, and they taught me certain like ways how to deal with stress or negativity. But also definitely if you're in a shape, it's so much easier to do those things, because if you don't have legs, then you can just forget about even trying to figure something out, you know.
What's the prep like then physically? You've talked about the mental side. When do you start to prep the Tour de France, and what does that look like for everyone here? Obviously they're not going to attempt the same thing, but you know.
So I would say that Tour de France prep starts like just after classics. I take a little break, and then because of course like classics is all about short intervals, and like you go up punchy climbs and you have to be maybe a bit bigger and like stronger. And then for Tour de France, you it's better for you if you shed some kilos and if you're like stronger on the longer climbs. So also taking into consideration how women's cycling is changing, you have to spend quite a lot of time on altitude. So luckily, my husband's hometown is in Boulder on altitude. So like visiting family is also a training camp for me. So that's what we did in May, like straight away to a training camp. And then I returned to Europe for another camps.
That's nice, though. That's the best of both worlds, because that's connecting
so nice,
with family.
Yeah.
Because altitude camps, if you hear people describe them now, everyone has to do them. Everybody's complaining about being at the top of Tenerife.
Yeah.
There's nothing to do, there's no Wi-Fi, or it's rubbish. This must be a completely different experience being in Colorado.
Yeah, for sure. Because actually I went to Tenerife in March before Classics, and it's seriously like you're at the top of a volcano, there's one hotel. The food is not the greatest. And there's like no coffee shops to go to. Yeah, for cyclists it's a hard one to swallow.
Yeah, disaster.
And every day you climb like hour and a half back up to a hotel. It's not that you can like somehow go around. You always have to climb. So after 3 weeks you feel that you are doing a training camp. Like you feel that it's a sacrifice and it's something that you have to do in order to get stronger. But then when we go to Boulder, it's like I get a lot of support from like Tay, from his family, and like his mom is cooking us pasta party. Like I don't have to do anything, just train, and the training is great. And you're on altitude, so yeah, it's definitely a great place to prepare.
Perfect. That's the business sorted for when you finish riding. The training camp hotel over in Boulder, Colorado. There you go. Yeah, the whole peloton will be moving there next.
Yeah, it's a secret spot. So let's not share it with anyone.
Right then, let's go back to the gravel, because we talked about you not winning a race for 5 years.
Yeah.
Sorry. But I think it's a big moment. It's certainly from the outside looking in. Tell us if we're wrong, but you win this race. You've suddenly got a rainbow jersey on your back. Did you go into that with the idea that you could win, or were you doing that for fun? Because that's the thing with the gravel. Everybody talks about it being the community and something, but was that something you targeted?
So last year, I did not participate in World Championships in Glasgow because I was sick. So I felt like I didn't want to finish season knowing that I had no opportunity to fight for the rainbow jersey. But then we finished the season. We actually came here with the whole team. And the first thing the girls do after the season is like, let's go out, finally. So we went out and everyone was telling me that gravel is a fun racing. So I was like, I don't mind, I can go out and still do worlds. So like it was definitely a chilled approach. And then we started the race and I was like, this is not chill. Like this is not like what people were promoting it as a fun racing. Like I'm there like trying to push all the time to stay with the front group. But the beauty of like end of the season is that you have so much racing in your legs and so much training that you just need to rest and then the shape is there. So actually, like after Koblenz trip, I found myself in a great shape. So I arrived to Worlds and I don't know, I felt like I was on an autopilot, just like cruising through, and the course was so beautiful, and also I felt like it was perfectly made for me. So it was like my first gravel race, and I had not much experience, or I didn't know what to expect. People were lying to me saying that it was going to be easy because it wasn't easy. But yeah, it was a great trip.
And I think it obviously came from that you just like riding your bike and you thought you would go there, see what happened without the pressure, and suddenly you have a rainbow jersey. Yeah,
I know. Like everything aligned perfectly.
Are you going to defend the title this year?
I was going to, but to be honest, after Olympics and Tour de France, because like, as I said, since May, it was like every day, wake up and you think about those goals. So it's a little different in comparison to other preparation because you know how important it is and you really don't want to mess up. So I felt like not only my life, but also Tay's life was altered to like achieving those two goals. So I just feel like I need to unwind in order to like then return to the same lifestyle with the same motivation for the next year.
You talked about Taylor there. What about support? I imagine for any athlete it is vital. How important is that for you to have that support network around you? He's trying not to look now.
Put your headphones on. And no, of course, for me, taste support is super important. He was cyclist himself, so I think that, yeah, there are not many people that really understand what cyclist is going through. And yeah, with his support and experience and the point of view from being a cyclist and being a person that got out of the bubble and sees the world differently and has experience that I haven't got yet, then I get like this extra knowledge in some ways. And definitely he's the person that many times, as people see me smiling and happy for the most part, he's the one that sees the other side, and he's the one that turns me into a smiling person again. So sometimes I feel bad, like coming home and unloading everything on him, but he knows how to deal with that. And with that said, I feel like also Beth deserves a word now, because I feel like very often after the finish line, she sees me with my head down, and also she talks to me in a way that then I get home to Tay being a little lighter and like ready to move on and refocus. So I think that in my life, I'm super lucky to be surrounded by people that just understand me and know how to support me and how to like leave the demons behind me and be able to move on.
What about the team? Because you mentioned Beth there, and, you know, surrounding your close support network. What's the atmosphere like in the team? I imagine it was pretty good the night after this, wasn't it?
Yeah. We need to share the pictures from the bus with the crew so they understand what the spirit is like. But we have, to be honest, one of the reasons why I never considered really changing a team is the girls and the staff and everyone that is part of the team, because I always feel like we're not like teammates, or how people explain quite often that it's a family vibe. We're just like very good friends. Like I'm looking forward to going to racing and being with the girls and catching up on like our lives and what happened and joking around. And I feel like I'm back, you know, in the high school years where you're just so stoked to be with your girls, you know, where I remember like back in the days when I started riding and I was on a different teams, like I would feel stressed or like weird at the table. And now I'm just like, I think all of us, we care about each other so much. It's like us as a persons and then as cyclists. So I think that, I'm super grateful for what we built together, because everyone puts a lot of effort and energy to make a very positive environment, working environment.
That must take the pressure off as well. You come into the final days and it'd be pretty normal to feel that little bit of pressure, especially, you know, everybody's expecting Demi Follering. She's going to bring this back. She's going to come back. She's going to attack. You know it's coming. But then if you can forget about it and laugh and joke, it must make it that little bit easier.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we can turn everything into a joke in some ways, but also when we have to get serious, we can do it. And definitely, like, even having Eric Zabel with us during the Tour de France, like, he has a great experience in racing such a big race. So he always just comes to a bus and jokes around and, like, makes us forget that we're at the bike race. But he also, like, all of a sudden becomes serious, and he's like, we have a yellow jersey. Like, you know, we have to bring it home. So I think it's like everyone has the same goal and we talk openly, and I think that as a team we're a great group for sure.
Well, it's a big team here who are spending a lot of time working on Speed Dreams at Canyon, trying to find those extra little bits. If you think back to your Tour de France, 4 life-changing seconds. That's what it is. Where do they come from, those 4 life-changing seconds?
Actually, interesting thing after the race, because of course every day we go to a press conference, and we are asked by different journalists about the stages. And the day earlier, I kind of like broke away a little with Demi, and then she outsprinted me for third. So she got 4 seconds, and the journalist asked me like, "Oh, you lost 4 seconds today, Demi. What does that mean?" And I said like, 4 seconds, it's nothing. Like that, I don't care about 4 seconds. And the day later, when I won by 4 seconds, he's like, "Okay, yesterday that 4 seconds is nothing. Like, what do you have to say now when you won by 4 seconds?" So I think that that's gonna be. I don't know. I just like the branding 4 seconds. I think it's a cool. I'm really proud of those 4 seconds that we won by 4 seconds, because it's like very little, but also it's like just enough, you know. It could be 1 second, but it's 4 seconds. So I think that, yeah. Also from like a women's cycling point of view, I think that we gave a great show for public and audience to really enjoy our racing. But yeah, speaking of the pressure, also I think that when you, as an athlete, you crack under pressure multiple times, you learn how to like manage it, or how to not avoid it, but how to understand it in a way that it doesn't affect you negatively. So I think that before the race, I never feel pressure. I sometimes feel stressed because I know I care, or I feel stressed because there are so many factors that I don't know how to manage. But yeah, not so much pressure.
Well, everybody had been talking about 1989 until this year. Of course, Greg LeMond and, you know, the few seconds there. That's gone out the window now. It's your 4 seconds that people are going to talk about. And I guess that's the encouragement that everybody here working at Canyon needs to keep making things faster, isn't it?
Yeah. Thank you guys for the fast frame, fast equipment.
Exactly. It all helps. It all helps.
Exactly.
Now, with great power comes great responsibility. You know that. You're a superhero now, as they say. You're also a role model. Are you conscious of that yet, that people are looking up to you? Do you realise that you are the hero for the next boys and girls who want to get on bikes?
Maybe I don't look at it that way. I think that I like to embrace my position in a way that I can help my young teammates, because the team consists of a lot of young girls, so not just young girls, super talented young girls. So I think that I like to be in a position where I can share my experience and kind of help them go through their cycling paths, because if you're young, everything seems bigger than what it is. So I hope that like being in a position that I am, where I was able to achieve the results that I wanted, I can share my knowledge and they actually take it and understand it, and not just like let it go. So yeah, that's how I see it, I think.
Well, there'll be a new generation of youngsters wanting to ride the same brand of bikes, wanting your yellow jersey, wanting Niewiadoma on their backs.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure to take forward, but you've earned it, and I'm sure you're a tremendous role model. For now, everybody, it's been absolutely brilliant, has it? Thank you very much. Kasia Niewiadoma.
Thanks. Thanks.